All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Yahweh. The honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone as well, and salutations to the hopeful like brothers out there pushing the truth. This is Brother Lahab coming to you with another lesson. All right, just laying back and off of the other Ariel from down in Dallas. Uh, because it's the spirit that you know, I even went on the internet, you know, and actually the question, who would be the next superpower? And it says, with this AI overview, that China is widely considered the most likely next or concurrent, meaning they're somewhat ruling with America, is what they're saying, because of all the properties that they own and the rise in technology. But it would just be the same system, where Jake is, because you got Jake over there, not to mention you have Jake over here, where it's the same system. The only thing is that it'll be a more by the power, but then, hey, this is still by the power of a Roman system. All right, the Most High is not trying to exalt the Romans or any type of Edomite or other nation. All right, but if you look at the scale on how they're trying to say it, oh yeah, uh, the Chinese are coming up in the world. They've gained access of real estate in America, and their different business deals with Russia and the BRICS nations to get from under the dollar, but you can't get from under the dollar. So, in so many ways, no, they're not going to be the next superpower. But I'm gonna let the elder speak on. Then I'm gonna chime in as well.
Great Millstone. Listen, much peace, love, salutations to Yakim out there pushing the word of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, sincerely and truth. It's your brother Ali Allen. And on this lesson, basically, I want to say, uh, the Most High is in control. Not not these, monthly prognosticators, not none of these other nations. And China is not going to run a damn thing because that's not what's prophesied. You got this guy Ray Dalio talking about we're in the sixth stage of the nine-stage collapse and doing all these, predictions on what's going to happen and this or that. Well, all these nations are going to be destroyed, man. We was talking about this earlier in the chat, how all of these people, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. The only people that know what's going on are the prophets of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, because they're able to be spiritually discerned enough to go into the prophecies and understand that the Most High is setting all of these things up, you know. And for some reason, these Edomites cannot see themselves not at not being at the top anymore, right? And then they have the audacity to say, "Well, it's going to be China."
And part of that, and that's the whole reason. Esau would, he would have the Chinese rule because in some form or shape they would still be on top. They would be really just using a nation like China. You would still have the elites, so Esau would pretty much still be all the way at the top, and they would be using China to forward their mission. But that's just not going to happen. All right, the Chinese are not going to be able to take over in this form of fashion. Because you're talking about a system that's dying. So how the hell are they going to be at the top? You know, but their inward thoughts is that their houses shall continue forever. So he knows that unless he does it like some some system with the black, but he would never exalt Jake. That's just not gonna happen. But it's still his system using another nation. Now the Most High is coming to destroy this whole thing and be king over it and exalt his people under his government. It's not gonna be the same government mental system where you can do pretty much what you want or do things outside of the ways of the Lord according to your ideals and uplift this type of society where we all coexist and there's no judgment. That's just not gonna happen.
Russia that's going to rule the next world. Well, no, we've been telling you all of these nations are going to fall when Babylon the Great falls, when America falls. All these nations are going to collapse and fold with it. All right, we're in the last days of the last days, to where the nation of Israel, the true nation of Israel, the elect of the nation of Israel, are going to be set up to rule. All right, because that's what's prophesied. All right, here in the book of Psalms 75, In 6, it says, For promotion cometh neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south. But the Most High is the judge. He putteth down one and setteth up another. So you can look at look at the GDP of China, and they're at the forefront of all this new technocratic, you know, systems. That don't mean they're gonna be promoted. It's the Most High that's gonna promote, and He's already proclaimed who He's gonna promote once Esau goes down. Right? The Scripture says that Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of that which followeth. So you're not gonna have some Moabite rulership, because that's who China is. China is Moab in the Scripture. They're the Moabites. All right. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. And Moab is going to fall right along with Edom, who is the so-called white man. Once this whole wicked global economy collapses and they charge towards World War III, all these nations are going to be taken down in that time. So it says, but the Most High is the judge. He putteth down one and set up another. For in the hand of the Lord there is a cup, and the wine is red. It is full of mixture, and he poureth out of the same. But the dregs thereof, all the wicked of the earth shall wring them out and drink them. So the dregs is the bottom, the sediment, the heaviest part of the cup, and the wicked are going to drink of that. And then it says, but I will declare forever, I will sing praises to the Most High of Jacob. All the horns of the wicked shall also will I cut off, but the horns of the righteous shall be exalted. And that righteous is going to be established within the nation of Israel. All right?
All right, I'll build it right there real quick, and I'm gonna grab this Baruch 5 and 7. For the Most High has appointed that every high hill or hill is a government. So every high mountain, every high hill, and banks of long continuance. So all these different these different powers that be, all right, from their magistrates to their presidents and senates, all right, all these things are going to be destroyed and dissolved. There's not going to be first off this whole digital grid that they want to destroy this one and rebuild a new one, but the Most High is going to destroy it completely, man. All right, so you ain't gotta worry about something floating around in the cloud in the kingdom. Ain't gonna be no cloud. Everybody's business isn't gonna be out there. Not to mention, you're not gonna have wickedness set in the all-time high, and these wicked stocks of trade on how they do their dirty shaming. Because this whole system is in balance. You're not gonna have this in the kingdom. All right. It says should be cast down and valleys filled up to make even the ground that Israel may go safely in the glory of the Most High. Because that's who's about to be exalted. Moreover, even the woods and every sweet smelling tree shall overshadow Israel by the commandment of the Most High. For the Most High shall lead Israel with joy in the light of the glory, with the mercy and the righteousness that cometh from him. Because the Most High is gonna uplift the underdog, man. All right. He what does it say? He did was never thought to rule, have won a crown. All right. Prince is sitting in the dirt. Hey, the Most High is gonna come and lift up these elect men. Not just any Israelite men, but the elect is gonna start with the government of Yahweh Shai's men to rule the earth. And after that, our people will be made righteous as well in the kingdom, and we're not gonna have to worry about a bastard, or even not just to say some illegitimate son, but even a wicked Israelite coming in and disturbing that rule, man. That's what the Most High is coming to do. That's what He's going to do through His Son in our lifetime. That's what's about to happen. It's a song, Psalms chapter 68 and verse 15. It says, "The hill of the Most High is the hill of Bashan, and in high hill is the hill of Bashan, because the Most High government is above all governments, man. His power is above all power. His horn is above all horn. Why leap ye high? Why leap ye high hills? This is the hill which the Most High desireth to dwell in. Yeah, the Lord Yahweh will dwell in it forever. All right. Not to mention the chariots, but this also goes into the power of Zion, man. That the Most High is going to dwell with Israel forever in our government. He's not with these wicked governments. All right, because it's nothing but backdoorness and all types of wickedness that's allowed. Like one of the reasons why everybody's coming against the NATO is because to be a part of NATO, you got to be down with the wickedness. You got to be down with the sickness, with the mentally ill, with the alphabet community. All right, and all types of Satanism that is allowed. Oh yeah, well you gotta coexist. So if you want to get some of this, get some of this money in this, you gotta be okay with these things, and you pretty much gotta accept wickedness or be wicked. And to accept wickedness, you gotta be wicked, man. All right, what does it say? For ruler hearken the lies, all his servants are wicked. So they throw away the whole goddamn country, man. That's what the Lord plans to do, man. All right, and it says, "Why leap ye high hills?" The Most High is not dealing with you other governments, man. Why everybody thinks is that? Let me get that. That's the heathen raging in their madness. This is Psalms 2:1. It says, "Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord Yahweh and against his anointed, saying, Let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us." What does that mean? That they don't want to be in subjection, but they will be. Like it says in the scriptures, man. It says in the book of Second Ezra, the heathen shall envy thee, but they shall be able to do nothing against thee. All right, going back into that Exodus where it says, "Against the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue," so that the people may know that how the Lord Yahweh has set a difference between the Egyptians and the Israel, man. All right, this is how you know the Most High is not dealing with any other nation. Because we say it, but now the Most High is about to prove it. He's not dealing with y'all. Your government is gonna be toppled down and taken over. People can speak against this place, and our kingdom ain't go back. Nobody's gonna be able to say shit. Nobody's gonna be able to shame. As powerful as these freaking politicians and kings are, they can be shamed. So I can have a picture of Kim Jong Un with devil horns on them. All that shit. That's not gonna happen in our kingdom. Even if somebody even think a thought, they get zapped on the spot, man.
Those who are caught up with the Lord when he returns. Okay, but I want to play a little bit of this and just talk about it. I'm gonna play a little bit at the beginning, and then I'm gonna skip ahead. Okay.
6, maybe even early stage 7
so, yeah. of a. So this is Ray Dalio, billionaire guy, part of a group that does investments and everything like that, and they make futuristic, basically predictions on what the markets are gonna do and how to move within the markets according to the trends that they analyze.
9-stage cycle that major world powers go through before their dominance fades and the system resets. Every dominant empire follows a pattern. He says in his article that he released, it's official, the world order has broken down. He says, in my parlance,
and the only place where you can find where the prophecies accurately predict the rise and fall of empires is the Bible. Right? There's no other book that has that level of accuracy concerning Babylon, concerning Persia, concerning Greece, concerning Rome. All right, concerning the rise of the new Rome, this beast system, that now it's coming to today after a post-Renaissance period. The Bible talks about all of these kingdoms, and it talks about America, which is Mystery Babylon the Great in the book of Revelation, and its downfall.
We are in the stage 6 part of the big cycle in which there is a great disorder arising from being in a period in which there are no rules. Might is right, and there is a clash of great powers. How stage 6 works is explained in detail in chapter 6, the big cycle of external.
The reason reason why that's even being pushed, aside from, what the elder just said, but what this woman's going into that might is right is because, they're starting to see how getting your way with, well, just recent events, man. What happened in Venezuela on how Trump went and forced his hand down there, man. You know how they went and forced that situation and took and kidnapped the president. That's like some old school war stuff that you would hear about, man. Like we're in in medieval times, man. Like we're getting down that way. Something that these nations basically had kind of act like they've been beyond, and that type of mindset that they're not a bunch of Genghis Khans or conquerors, but that's exactly what they are. But except they're much more bloodthirsty. All right, these people are willing to destroy civilians to get their way.
Order and disorder in my book.
And what you'll notice is that all of these people are making money off of confusion because of the witchcraft, because of the magic that's being pushed out of here. There's a high level of confusion going on, and all of these alternative media sites and these pundits and these, like I said, monthly prognosticators are making profit from people being confused, because there is a sense within people in general of, man, what the hell is going on? What is this? What is that? Why is this? So these people's like, oh, get my book. I'll tell you in detail the 9 steps of the fall of the rise of the. Buy my new book. So they're making merchandise off people's confusion.
Right. Because something's about to happen. These people feel it, but they want to know how they're going to end up on these outcomes whenever whoever takes over or who's left standing at the end of the day. And like the apostle, not the apostle, but the elder of Dallas just said, they buy into this into these different tactics. If these whistleblowers or somebody who might be in the know might know a few things, Christopher Greens, but these people are backing off of you because World War III is trending. Just like they said on Fallout, it's a business selling the end of the world.
Book, Principles for Dealing with the Changing World Order. While I previously shared a lengthy set of excerpts from chapter 5, so you could see how what is going on in the United States tracks with the classic cycle explained in that chapter, I'm including all of chapter 6 here for you to review. And so he then publishes his chapter 6 there in the article, if you're interested in reading it, on X. But basically what he says is that every dominant empire follows a pattern, and it begins with total victory. So like after World War
boom, and then Kim, she goes through the process of explaining these different steps, but I want to just go ahead and skip to what she starts to break down as the 8th step. Okay,
stuff that we're seeing right now with the we're going to restrict your exports to China, we're going to freeze foreign reserves, we're going to do sanctions, we're going to do all these things. That's the beginning stage of this stage 7 economic warfare. And when you get deeper into stage 7, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to break out into like a kinetic war, but historically it often does. That's stage 8. So we kind of have to see how stage 7 plays out, but stage 7 could just remain this really harsh economic.
And the scriptures already dictate and tell you that there's going to be a harsh economic period, and there's going to be war. It's called Armageddon in the Bible. We already know that there's going to be a major war that breaks out, and it's going to be literally the war that ends all wars. Okay, but before that, they're going to want to roll out this digital system. They're going to have to demolish the current world system and have a reason to activate the Mark of the Beast system, the MOTB system. And all these nations are complicit in trying to roll this out. Now, they had it going on over in the East and basically had this modern AI, digital tech society been going on over in China, India, and the East. And now they're using the two sides of the same coin to say, oh man, we got to catch up to China. Well, Moab and Edom, if you type in Moab and Edom, they've always been tied to the hip. Okay? And they still are. They've always been major trade partners, and they still are today. And they're going to receive judgment together, man. Point blank, period. right? So when we see these economic sanctions and everything like that, while it literally hurts both sides, so it doesn't even make sense, you know. But they're doing this all as a coordinated effort to start something new.
War that we're having with practically everybody right now around the globe, but mostly we're really aiming it at China. I mean, all the tariffs around the world that Trump has been doing, that's aimed at China at the end of the day. It's about limiting, hey, we don't really want you doing so much trade with China. We still want to be the top dog in the world, trade with us, partner with us. We're the shining star on the sea, or star on the hill, whatever the analogy is there. And really we're doing all of this to try to harm China. So let's get to stage 8, because this is where we're headed, according to Ray Dalio. Stage 8 is when rivalry stops being financial and it starts getting physical. So in 1914, Europe had already been in the arms race for years. Germany had built up its navy. British had responded. Alliances were formed. Trade tensions were rising. Nationalism was intense. Then an assassination in Sarajevo happened. And then within weeks, Europe was at war. The assassination did not cause World War I. It triggered something that had already been building for decades. So that's where we would be at with us. It's not like, oh, you did this and therefore now we're in World War III. No, I mean, we've had all of these buildups happen.
And that's what she was about to explain is literally how America does its tactics, where it's basically like America will bully someone and act like they're not doing. Stop touching me. He's touching me. I'm not touching you. Like really just antagonizing somebody to the point to where they retaliate. Oh my! Did y'all just see what he did? Did y'all see him hit me? After you just basically bullied them. And on the world stage, everybody else may know, but they can't prove it on what you just did. But they know that I was just talking to Russia the other day. China, they did that to you? Yeah, man. Turkey was saying the same thing. Yeah, these countries they start complaining on you. Yeah, Japan said they was the first to get it. And that's exactly what she's saying. That America does these tactics and gets everyone on the side by being this big bully.
And we could say, well, it was actually a long ramp that got us there. And that's the same thing with World War II. When you look at 1939, for example.
Yeah, we always read the scriptures, the Second War was passed and the Third War coming quickly, talking about how World War I and World War II passed, and there was a progression of prophecy that led up into those world wars. And it's going to be the same thing with World War III, where these micro events lead into a macro problem, and where all of these nations come together in the Valley of Jehoshaphat to go to war. And you see all the different skirmishes that are happening, the propaganda against Iran, and the propaganda that's against Russia, and the war in Ukraine, the ongoing tensions that are, in the Gaza Strip and that are in Syria, and all different other type of places all across the world, man. All these different things are literally just small pieces of the bigger prophecy that's getting ready to go down. Right? So as we see different, military drills here, and the Strait of Hormuz, and we got to watch out for China and Taiwan, and all these different things. It's all pieces of a bigger thing that's happening. It's going to culminate into actual kinetic war.
Well, by then, Germany had rearmed, Japan had invaded China, the United States had imposed economic pressure, oil was restricted, trade blocs had hardened. When Germany invaded Poland, it wasn't, that was the moment. There was a big buildup that led up to that. That was the ignition of a decade of escalating pressure, basically. That is stage 8. Okay. So it's not just war. It's the point where backing down becomes politically impossible. And that is the key historical pattern that Dalio emphasizes. So the most dangerous moment in history is when two powers are close in strength and neither can afford to look weak. And today, that flashpoint that people talk about is Taiwan with China. So if China moves militarily and the U.S. responds militarily, that is stage 8. We start to get into war. Now, you could argue that the United States going after Iran could actually be the trigger of stage 8. You could say that because then if the war with Iran brings in Russia, brings in China, we start seeing if the U.S. starts strangulating China in other ways, like we see with Venezuela, trying to basically harm the Belt and Road Initiative. We're also seeing a lot of sabotage all around the world in regard to the Belt and Road Initiative. So we're seeing like this rise of Islamic extremism that just happens to be popping up in places all around where China just happens to be wanting to put their Belt and Road Initiative, or we see ports just happen to be blown up, like in Lebanon, where China just did a deal for its Belt and Road Initiative. And now we see Venezuela just happens to be taken over, where China was looking to get a lot of its oil to further its Belt and Road Initiative. When we start to see those blocks, China might become aggressive. They might feel like, all right, like Japan did, if you're going to block our oil and we've got 2-year runway left, we have no choice but to attack you. We could be positioning China for that. I wouldn't put it past the powers that be. They love it when the other side shoots first, because then it looks like it's your fault. That's what happened with Russia and Ukraine. It's your fault. Look what you did. Look what you did. Right? And Russia says, no, look what you made me do. And that is what Japan said. United States says, oh, look what you did with Pearl Harbor. And Japan says, no, look what you made me do. And that is what we are. It looks like that's what we're trying to do with China, is almost get them to the point where they shoot first. And then we say, wow, you're the bad guys after all. And we knew it all along. And China says, no, look what you made me do. But it could happen a different way.
Now, that's what it talks about in the book of Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter, Well, basically, the nations are just like, they're just tired of it, and that's that shameful spewing that comes out. Woe, it says, woe unto that nation that just wants to take everything, wants to claim everything, and these other nations get tired of it, and then they go to spoil that nation. Okay. All right. Habakkuk chapter.
I'm pretty much in it right there. I believe he's getting Habakkuk 2:16. Um, but you can go watch the video. Uh, yeah, the Most High is about to bring down all these proud nations, man. Trying to think of the other scripture I had thought of earlier. Oh, it's all good. I'm just gonna get this scripture and end it off. Uh, you know, brothers in GMS Dallas, the elders, they usually upload on the Remnant Save 144. That's where I got the video from, and it's a good video. I recommend brothers watching it. But I'm just gonna get this real quick. Uh, this is Isaiah 25, verse. I'll start at verse 9. And it shall be said in that day, lo, this is our power, this is our God. All right. Everybody's saying that they're gods. The Christians have America has Christianity and a bunch of other crap, but it's mainly, supposed to be forefronted by Christian beliefs in JC. All right. Well, that guy's not coming to save nobody nor help. He's not. Hey, the Most High is not the real God. Is not going to bless America. That God definitely sure isn't, man. It says we have waited for Him. We're waiting for the Most High. We're waiting for our power because He's about to show y'all that He's not down with this shit. All right. And He will save us. This is the Lord Yahweh. That's His name. The Lord Yahweh, through His Son Yahweh Shai, is about to come save us out of this situation. This about to brew. where all these different nations feel like they about to just go to war. They about to have an all-out battle of the bastards in real life. You know, no pun intended. They about to have a battle of the bastards, and they think that they gonna come out walking on top. I say no. It says, "We have waited for him. We will be glad and rejoice in his salvation. For in this mountain, so in this government that the Lord is bringing, which is of Zion, Zion is that mountain, shall the hand of the Lord Yahweh rest, and Moab shall be trodden under him, even as straw is trodden down for the dunghill. And he shall spread," and Moab once again being the Chinese. The Chinese are going to be in subjection to so-called black men, Native American men, and Hispanic men, all right, which are going to be known as Yasharala. We're not going to be called that anymore, but Yasharala is what we're going to be called, you know, the sons of the Most High, all right? And he shall spread forth his hands in the midst of them, and as he that swimmeth spreadeth forth his hands to swim, and he shall bring down their pride together with the spoils of their hands. And the fortress of the high fort of thy walls shall he bring down, they lay low and bring down, bring to the ground, even to the dust. So that's what the Heavenly Father is about to do, man. That's why this world is setting up this event right now. We know, which is going to be, the third war, World War III, to present the Lord's coming, because he's going to come and conquer this place. As a matter of fact, before I end it off, I'm going to get that in Revelation, because I believe I believe the elder mentions it in this video, but I'm going to go ahead and get it as well. All right. Oh, shit. This is Revelation 19 and 11. It says, "And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse," meaning all those chariots, starting with the chariot of Yahweh Shai. That white horse represents Yahweh Shai, the righteous one. He that sat upon him was faithful and true, and in righteousness he doth judge and make war. So these words are faithful and true. That's what the Lord is about to come do, judge and make war. He's going to war and not lose anything. He's going to judge in righteousness on what he's about to do, on what who he's going to save and who he's going to condemn. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns, representing all the nations that he's about to conquer, as well as, the authority he's going to give his men. And he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. Because, hey, this world didn't know Yahweh Shai. The only people who know Yahweh Shai is who? The body of Yahweh Shai. All right? Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, which are his elect and one-third people. He was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of the Most High. The armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen with white and clean. And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron, and he treadeth the winepress of fierceness and the wrath of the Almighty power. All right. And he hath on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. All right, because that's what that's going to represent. All right, even though our nation is our kings and lords, the Lord is going to come take down these current kings and lords. All right, he's going to be above them. All right, all these superpowers. And with that, Lord willing, this has been edifying. I'm going to end this lesson off and give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, and Kakwadash, Shalom, and Abba Ball.